where best friends and next-door neighbors, Willow and Lillian, spill the tea on murder, mysteries, and other things that go bump in the night. So get your favorite teacup ready, and let's get into it. Welcome to Cruelty Podcast. This is Lillian, and with me is Willow.
Hello.
I don't know. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd introduce you properly.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Hello.
Anyway, it's hot as balls here.
Sure is.
That's all. I mean, I wish I had news of any kind. Nothing. I mean,
I got a second job, so I'm super busy.
Yeah, I'm
busy.
I too got a second job. Maris has 2 jobs.
My little one started pre-K.
Oh,
If you've been listening to this podcast since day 1, he was like 6 months old when we started.
that's true. Isn't this crazy?
Mm-hmm.
We're almost at the end of season 3. We only have a few episodes left.
Wild, dude.
I can't believe I'm doing this
That's
this
so
long.
crazy.
Anyway, hi.
Hi.
I'm a trigger warning you for domestic violence, drug abuse, and I think that should cover it. I mean, there is some grisly
Murder.
stuff, but I'm not going to get into like detail. So I'm not going to trigger warning it because it is a murder podcast.
Mhm.
Yeah. If it were like extreme gore, I would. Like if we were doing an Albert Fish, for example. But we're
Yeah.
not, so
Ugh,
moving
thank
on.
Goodness.
Right, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
This is the case of Yvonne Baldelli, who went
Ooh.
missing in 2011. The investigation into her disappearance would make international news.
Her name is pretty.
She was just a delightful woman in general. Yvonne, who friends called Vonnie, was born on March 4th, 1970. She grew up in Southern California. Her parents divorced when she was young, but she was close to both of her parents and her siblings. She had a brother and a sister. Vonnie was a beautiful girl with a bubbly personality. She was fun-loving and a free spirit. Vonnie married John Baldelli in 1996. By 2009, they divorced, and I don't have a lot of information on her childhood or her first marriage, and honestly, they're just not really relevant to this case. And for the first time, I'm not covering the killer's background at all, because I just hate him so fucking much. Yeah.
I do that sometimes.
I'm not feeling it. I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about him.
Yeah.
Fuck this worm.
Fair enough.
She was 39 when her marriage to John ended, and I remember being single at 33 and thinking how impossible dating was.
Currently single and divorced at 33, and I fucking hate it.
That's why I said the magic number, because 33 was how old I was when I met Maris. Actually, I was 30.
I still
yeah.
fucking hate it.
Oh, no, it sucks balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just, like, it was so hard to start my life over, too. Like, when you have kids
Mhm.
and you're married and then you're not, it's just, ugh, it's a lot.
bullshit.
And Vonnie felt like this. She's just trying to put the pieces back together after her first marriage fell apart. She was, God, I can't talk today. She met,
Cute.
my mouth is just going crazy. It's not listening. She met someone new not long after at a place called Hennessy's Tavern in Dana Point, Orange County, California. His name was Brian Birmager. He was 33, dark-haired, handsome, and had just retired from the Marine Corps. They started dating and had what I would describe as a whirlwind romance. Brian was charming and lively. He seemed like he was perfect for her, and they appeared to be very much in love. But how many times do we see this on this podcast? Whirlwind romances are often the result of love bombing by the perpetrator, and I suspect this was the case with Vonnie too. Just out of a failed marriage, she was dazzled by Brian's bigger-than-life personality and all the attention he showed her. She gushed to her friends about him, clearly immediately infatuated, and I don't say this to shame her or blame her in any way, because I went through similar after my abusive marriage. It's so easy to get swept off your feet when you're already lonely for company and looking to start over.
Yeah.
You know how that is.
Girl, I could write a handbook on it.
Yes. And then I will, after you finish writing it.
You're going to burn it?
And we get it published into a nice hard copy. I would like it delivered to my house, at which point I will peel off the book jacket and then pummel you over the head with it.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. But I just say this to caution anyone listening.
Absolutely.
If it seems too good to be true, well, there's no harm in waiting, is there?
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Take it slow.
Put it in reverse a little bit.
I'm learning.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Vonnie's family was a bit surprised that she found a boyfriend so soon after her divorce, but they wanted her to be happy because she deserved to be happy. So any misgivings they had were shelved for the time being. But they were concerned by how much of her time and energy she was devoting to the new man in her life. It seemed like every thought and every spare second was totally devoted to Brian. They didn't think that Brian was giving the same back. And he fucking wasn't. Spoiler alert. They continued to date, and it was a tumultuous relationship over the next 2 years. It was on and off again, and I can relate. This is precisely how my second marriage was. It was all love bombing in the beginning, then he would be cruel, and I would try to leave, and then the love bombing again, so I'd stay. Anyway, in 2011, it seemed like the relationship had stabilized. Yvonne left her many sources say she left her position at Procter & Gamble, but she was actually laid off. Brian and Yvonne had shared a dream of getting a house that overlooked the beach and thought this was the perfect time to finally make this move. However, in Orange County, California, beachfront properties are outrageously expensive, usually in the millions. And
by the way, is absolutely wild. I saw a time-lapse map of some of the beachfront properties. Like, if they would have bought a beachfront property at this time, what was it, 2011?
Yeah.
Like, half, if not more, of their, like, property would be covered in ocean right now. Because, like,
it's crumbling.
Most people are, like, the beach is at their back door on a lot of those properties.
It's waterfront property at this point.
Yeah, it's about to be flooded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't have that kind of money, though they weren't really hurting financially either. Well, I mean, we don't know about Brian's kind of financial situation. I'm going to guess it was bad.
Due to this month's theme, I already have a really big ick about Brian.
Oh, he's the king of ick.
I see why you don't really want to talk about him.
No, I hate him.
I don't even want to know him.
Brian and Vonnie got creative and started looking at other countries, tropical countries with even more stunning views, but where the cost of living was far cheaper, and so they decided on Panama. Ooh. The small island of Isle Coronero, I said it right, just slow, it was a private island one could only get to by boat. And Vonnie wanted to start a clothing business there, making swimwear and other beach clothes for tourists and expats alike.
Oh, that's cute.
She was really good with sewing.
Ooh, bathing suits are really hard to make.
Yeah, she was like legit about it.
That fabric
too.
is really hard to work with.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So on September 26, 2011, Yvonne and Brian moved to Isle Coronero. Ooh, I said it fast that time. They sold just about everything they owned. And let's make it clear, she sold everything she owned and moved. Yvonne brought her dog, Georgia May, a King Charles Spaniel, 2 sewing machines for her clothing business, and her Sony laptop so she could stay in touch with her family via email at the very least. FaceTime wasn't as much of a thing in 2011, if at all, but webcams were. And if the connection wasn't good enough, she could still email her loved ones.
Right.
Brian and Yvonne rented a waterfront apartment that was very beautiful. And I say apartment, but you got to understand it's more like a hostel situation. Mm-hmm. There were 5 rooms in this one building, and they lived next to their landlord just to set it up. They became fast friends with the property manager, and everything seemed perfect. Brian played guitar badly in local bars, either for fun, money, or free food and alcohol. And he did this a few times a week. Let's be clear, he was not making a living with this. Like, a lot of podcasters kind of try and imply that this was his contribution. He sucked, and it was clearly out of pity he got anything at all.
I think we all know this guy.
Well, I know this guy. People who got to know the couple saw them together all the time, and they seemed to not only be getting along, but having the time of their lives. Yvonne regularly kept in touch with her family via phone or email. She sent pictures of the beautiful surroundings and of her and Brian. Vonnie told her family she was basically in paradise, having the time of her life with the love of her life. Every email or phone call was just gushing about everything, and of course, they were so happy for her because no one deserved it more than Vonnie. Naturally, this flood of happy emails and phone calls made her family believe that maybe Brian really was the one, and that Vonnie was happy and everything really was perfect, paradise. But around Thanksgiving in 2011, something went very wrong. Emails and calls came less frequently. On November 21st, 2011, Yvonne emailed her cousin after hearing from another family member that said cousin had been in a bad car accident. They emailed back and forth all day, and the last message from Yvonne was around 6:30 p.m., and Vonnie didn't respond after that. This was especially strange because the cousin had been planning to come visit the happy couple in paradise soon. After a couple days went by, the cousin got even more concerned because Yvonne was the type of person to respond to calls or emails within minutes, and it was definitely out of character for it to go more than a couple of days, even when Yvonne was very busy. Unlike me, I will just space out entirely and go a month before responding sometimes because my brain is stupid and soupy.
Soup.
Do you do that? Like, I love people and I want to hear from you,
Girl.
but some...
I have, I think, over 100,000, something odd, probably in the 500,000 unread messages in...
Like Instagram and shit?
No, in my inbox and on, like, my Gmail.
Oh, my
email.
emails?
Yeah.
We're not going to...
No.
We're not going to talk about
Oh, but
those.
my actual messenger and everything. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. It's like, it's bad.
It's bad.
It's
and then it
bad.
goes so long, and you're like, uh-oh. It's
Yeah.
been too long. No, it's weird.
Well, if somebody messages me, hey, I
Boy, howdy, I don't know what to say to that.
I don't. So I just don't. Unless it's somebody that I'm like, oh yes, I really need to talk to them about something, you know.
I need a purpose for this conversation.
Yes.
Help me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need purpose.
Or I'll see a message and I'm sleepy and my brain goes, this is what we should say. And then I say it in my brain goes, we said it. And then it flies away
Yes.
forever.
I have a really bad habit of looking at my phone while driving and thinking the reply, but I'm driving, so I can't reply. But I thought the reply.
So that's as good as reply.
So I replied.
Oh, God, I hate my brain. Jeez.
Not okay.
But Vonnie wasn't like that. Like, she actually remembered to,
She was active.
reply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and she's also on an island far away from her family. Like, she's going to want
It's going to prioritize it, yeah.
Yes.
So her cousin reached out to Vonnie's sister, Michelle. Sure that the two of them were in pretty constant contact. So the cousin was like horribly surprised to learn that Michelle hadn't heard from Yvonne in a couple days either. Vonnie called Michelle every Sunday, and Michelle told the cousin that she hadn't called 2 Sundays in a row. And this was not like her. Both cousin and sister were really worried, but there wasn't anything they could think to do, really. While it was unusual, she was in another country and could just be busy. So they both expected to hear from her soon, but weren't like worried to the point of going to the police.
So it's been 2 Sundays, so it's been like a week and a half?
Now, when I go through the timeline
Okay.
here, it's going to seem confusing.
Yeah.
Because in all of my research, this is how it was worded. And so, like, a couple days, this day, a day from there, a week from there. And so I lost the fucking plot. Yeah. When we get more towards the end, I lay it out exactly how it happened. So you can see, like, of course, there are some periods where she was clearly maybe not answering as fast. Right. But then the relationship wasn't great at that point. And you know how it is, right? When you're fighting with your significant other... Yeah. You don't have the strength to answer family and pretend like everything's okay.
Well, you don't really want to look at a screen because you're so far into the conversation or the argument or
God, you don't have the strength to communicate any fucking more. So we'll get into it more, but that's kind of what I think is happening here. But 2 weeks would go by with no word. On December 14th, Michelle finally did get a text, but it wasn't from a number she recognized, and it wasn't from Yvonne. It was from Brian. He asked if he could make arrangements to pick up his truck. It made no sense to Michelle because he's in Panama. I thought he was in Panama.
What does he need his truck for?
His truck was at, like, I believe her house because he went out of the country, so she kept it there.
In California.
What
the fuck does he need his truck in?
Yeah, and she was like, well, if he's back in the U.S., where's my sister?
Yeah.
So Michelle immediately called this number and asked Brian where her sister was, and he seemed confused and asked her if she had gotten his email. Michelle said that it had been weeks since she'd heard from Yvonne or anyone at all, so she got off the phone and combed through her emails, and sure enough, she found an email from Brian she had somehow missed. The email from Brian stated that he and Yvonne were no longer together. Michelle didn't even bother reading the whole email before calling Brian back and asking him what the hell had happened. Yeah. Given that the last time she'd heard from her sister, things seemed to be perfect.
Right.
Brian said they got into a fight because Yvonne had found out he'd had a child with someone else.
Okay.
And this was news to Michelle, too. Like, before they were together, he'd had a child with someone else. But they'd been dating for 2 years.
Yeah, so, like, don't lie. But I don't think she's mad about the child. She's mad about lying.
No, she's mad about all of it. But we'll get into why.
Okay. Well, yeah.
And why the lie was so terrible for Yvonne.
Ooh.
Michelle knew that Brian had kept this from Yvonne, and of course that would upset anyone, but Yvonne especially, because she couldn't have children of her own due to a medical issue. Brian told Michelle that Yvonne was upset and left him without a call or even a note. He told her he hadn't heard from Yvonne since their big fight, and neither had Michelle. Brian tried to reassure Michelle that Yvonne was likely fine, just upset and taking some time to herself before contacting anyone. But Michelle wasn't buying this. Yvonne would not have left her family in the dark. She went to her family when she was upset.
Well, yeah, if you break up with your boyfriend, what are you going to do? Immediately call your loved ones.
Yeah, your mom, your dad, your sister.
Immediately.
Like, seconds later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't, because I didn't get along with literally anyone in my family.
Your loved ones.
Well, and I didn't have any friends at the time, but if I had, that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did I call?
Me.
Yeah. I just ran over here.
Crying, yeah.
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 A couple times, actually.
Well, we smoked about it. It was all right.
Divorce cigarettes are amazing.
They hit different, don't they?
They do.
Yvonne had always desperately wanted to be a mother, so to find out the love of her life had lied to her, concealed that he had a child from another relationship after she'd sold everything she owned and left her life behind to start a new life in a new country, well, of course, Yvonne would have been devastated. But she would have called her sister. Yeah. It wasn't like Vonnie to just disappear and worry everyone like this. After 10 days went by, Brian called Michelle again, asking if he could pick up his fucking truck. Michelle told Brian he could pick up his truck and she would be there. From what I understand, he'd left his truck, like, in the U.S. at her place. I searched through documents. I cannot get any kind of, like, I don't know, like
where his truck was.
Where it was, like if it was at whose place it was at, why Michelle was in charge of it. Right. It really annoyed me. I hate when there are little details like this and I can't get to the bottom of what it was about.
Yeah. Because if his truck was in, like, I don't know, like parked at, like, someplace near the water, you know what I mean? Like where he would dock, like I would get that. But I don't know why he would need, I don't know, dude.
Why didn't he sell his truck if he was moving to Panama?
When he sold everything else.
Or did he? I don't think he sold shit, for the record. But, like, there's no way to find that information out. I watched 2 documentaries and listened to 3 podcasts, and I read some court documents, and finally I was just like, fuck.
Right.
Just confusing. But so, if you're confused, samesies.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's not important. Michelle said she would be there, and together, her and Brian would go to the police and file a missing persons case for Yvonne.
Yeah.
And he said he agreed. But still, all of this left a very bad taste in Michelle's mouth, so she went back to her emails and combed through them painstakingly to make sure there wasn't anything she might have missed, either from her sister or Brian, and she did find an email from Yvonne from about 4 to 5 weeks prior to her disappearance. The email said that Yvonne had discovered that Brian was a liar and a cheater, and that she was leaving him. She said she was going to Costa Rica with a man she'd met when she first got to Panama, and this email was odd to say the least.
Yeah, none of this seems like her, and I barely know her.
It didn't mention the child, which was what she would have been most upset about.
Yeah.
And Brian had never said he cheated, or that's what they argued about.
Yeah.
This didn't make sense. And Yvonne may have moved on from her marriage with Brian fast, but this was even faster and wholly unbelievable to Michelle.
Yeah, she would have just come straight home.
That's what
That's
what all her family said.
She would not have just gone to Costa Rica.
Exactly. Besides, if all that were true, then why hadn't Yvonne called or emailed in weeks? She wouldn't have worried her family like that, even if she'd done something wild and risky like running off with a man she barely knew.
Mm-hmm.
After a few days, Michelle would get an email from Yvonne again. And this email said Yvonne missed everyone and was feeling homesick. She said she'd try to get home to the States by January when there was a big family reunion. Michelle thought maybe then that nothing was actually wrong and that her sister was safe, and she felt relieved. It was possible she had poor signal and hadn't been able to get in touch, or was just too upset and busy to really want to talk much. And this seemed more plausible now that she just got another email from Yvonne.
Miraculously, after the missing persons report was mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not filed, mentioned.
Mentioned.
This staved it off.
Yeah, of course it did.
Of course.
Until January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same day she got the email, Brian conveniently arrived to pick up his truck. Michelle described him as emotionless, empty. He should have been more upset or worried about Yvonne. At the very least, sorry for the relationship ending due to his dishonesty. He didn't say much, got in his truck, and left. Brian told friends and other acquaintances that Yvonne had left him for another man, never mentioning the fact he'd lied to her about having a child from a previous relationship, and all of it stunk to high heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle emailed her sister saying she wanted to make sure she wasn't kidnapped or that someone was impersonating her. It was lighthearted with a ha-ha in there, but Yvonne never responded, and she never showed up to California in January of 2012. She had promised to make it to that big family reunion, but never showed. And it's not something she would have missed. While at the family reunion, Michelle and other family members took the time and shared stories about Yvonne and when they'd last heard from her. Everyone had heard different things from Yvonne, and none of the stories matched up.
What the fuck? If you're gonna lie.
Get your shit straight.
If you're going to lie.
Get it straight. Write it down.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Damn.
I mean, I'm not a good liar, but at least I know that.
Don't bother with lying. The truth
No.
is more devastating and painful. That's how I like
and
it.
easier to remember.
I don't remember shit from Shinola. You're just going to get what I'm thinking, because if I have to concoct a lie, listen, if I feel the need to lie to someone, I just end the whole thing. I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk to you.
It's
no more.
probably got to have like a ticket involved, you know, like court
Oh,
dates
I
and
will
shit.
lie to authority.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So Brian had also stopped answering emails and phone calls from Yvonne's friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, Yvonne's family was really worried. They contacted the embassies in Panama and Costa Rica. Her family was convinced Yvonne had not run off with another man. Michelle went to a cousin to get some tech help. If they could figure out where the emails were coming from, then they could figure out where Yvonne had actually been all this time.
Uh-huh.
The cousin in question was good at computer stuff and told Michelle that all he needed were the IP addresses that would be attached to the emails, and he could find out where the emails were sent from with that information alone. The emails from Panama were indeed from Panama. The emails from Costa Rica had come from the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They came from Dana Point, California, where
Mhm.
Brian and Yvonne had lived before going to Panama. Michelle and the cousin were shocked. If Yvonne was back in California, then why hadn't she told anyone?
Yep.
Because she wasn't.
Yep.
The cousin then tracked where Brian's emails came from. The one where he had first told Michelle that Yvonne had left him when he was supposedly still in Panama, and like the others, this one had come from California too. In fact, they had the same IP address as
No
the later
shit.
ones from Yvonne. Because it was using the same internet service
Yeah.
provider and everything.
Yep.
With all this information, Michelle went to the FBI, who immediately took it seriously, shock, and began a silent investigation. Michelle was also informed by the embassy in Costa Rica that there was no record of Yvonne entering Costa Rica. And then she got the word back from the embassy in Panama. she'd never left Panama.
Mm-hmm.
Yvonne's family went to Panama to look for her and hand out missing persons flyers, and that's when witnesses began to come forward. Now, most said that Brian and Yvonne looked like a happy, normal couple, but a few others said that Brian was abusive, and local police confirmed this by saying that from October to nearly the end of November, they got a lot of calls from neighbors because Brian was abusing Yvonne physically. The FBI interviewed Brian in March of 2012. He told investigators that Yvonne left for Costa Rica on November 27, 2011, that she took her laptop with her. And then he made sure to tell them, oh, I have a similar laptop that looks exactly like her laptop, but it is totally my laptop.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He told the FBI he hadn't planned on coming back to the States, but once Yvonne left him, he decided to come home. Brian denied having ever abused Yvonne and that he had no access to her email accounts. But what was most shocking about Brian? Only 2 weeks after his return to the United States, he got engaged.
What the fuck?
He married another woman named Kristen shortly after, who was the mother of his child. While in Panama, while he was still with Yvonne, Brian was emailing Kristen, basically having an affair with her. He promised her that he wanted his family back together and he was committed to making the relationship work, and he never mentioned that he was in a relationship with Yvonne. He never mentioned her at all or once. Mm-hmm. Kristen had no idea she existed.
I'm sure.
Both of those women were completely being strung along by him.
Right.
In April of 2012, Yvonne's case caught the public eye, and it was almost 5 months after she'd gone missing in Panama. The FBI was working with the officials in Panama to try and find any clues. They searched the apartment the couple shared, conducted ground and ocean searches. They were looking for her dog and a necklace that was really important to her.
I forgot about the dog.
Yeah, I should trigger warning for that as well.
God.
Sorry. So, animal death. If you can't handle it, then turn away from the episode now.
Aww.
Yeah, they were looking for any clues, pretty much. In April, Brian was named a person of interest in her case officially. Brian's movements were scrutinized. Upon his arrival in Panama in September of 2011, he was immediately in touch with Kristen, as though he had always planned to get back with her in the first place. In November of 2011, he sent emails to Kristen, family and friends, saying he was bored of life in Panama and that he'd be coming back to California soon. And this is before Vonnie goes missing.
Bored in Panama.
Dude, this gets so fucked up. Witnesses in Panama said that Brian had a pretty extensive cocaine habit. Investigators found pictures Yvonne had taken where Brian had punched her in the face, as well as bruises on her arms. The last time Yvonne was seen alive was November 26, 2011, at a steakhouse on the island in Panama, and she was never seen again.
Oh, honey.
On November 27th, money was withdrawn from her bank account. 2 days later, there was an email sent from Yvonne's email account. A couple days after this, on December 11th, another email from her account was sent and more money was taken from her bank account. A week later, Brian emailed Yvonne, and that same day, an email went out from her account. So he's emailing her to make himself look innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah. After Christmas, an email was sent out from Yvonne's account. Investigators seized Brian's laptop, which was Yvonne's laptop, and they discovered some disturbing Google searches, including watching mattress with blood stain. Investigators determined that this was a homicide.
Yeah.
In July of 2013, Brian was charged with many federal obstruction charges, such as giving false statements and falsifying records. And he was charged with 13 felonies related to covering up Yvonne's disappearance and likely her death, and he was convicted. He was put in jail. They did that to hold him there while they invested, because he's a flight risk, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kristen stood by her man. Fuck you. Fuck you. All that come out, fuck you.
Yeah.
You should go. I think you should go to jail too.
Just for agreeing.
Well, come on.
It just reminds me of all of those people that like fangirl over murderers and shit. Or like,
oh my God,
try to say they're innocent when they're
who's your favorite serial killer? What the fuck do you mean? Nah.
Mm-hmm.
None of them? They're fucked up sickos? I'd fuck Jeff. Shut up. I'd fuck Ted Bundy. Oh my God.
The things that he fucked, I don't want to.
I wouldn't want it.
No.
And if you may be asking, Lillian, when will you cover Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer? The answer is never. The
Never.
families have asked it to stop.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
Then we don't touch it. Plus, it's been covered how many fucking times?
I think we all know it.
What the fuck could I add? Except Ted Bundy was a ding-dong and not as good-looking as he thought he was, and Jeffrey Dahmer really needed help.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I'm out on that.
Yeah.
So
I
Yvonne...
felt the heat from across the room on that one.
Oh, I just can't.
Sorry.
I just can't. And that, like, documentary makers and producers in Hollywood still keep pumping out shit
When there's so many other cases
that could use attention.
Yes.
And not only that, is the families have asked respectfully and kindly for us to stop, so we
Yeah.
gotta stop.
Yeah.
Like, I want this to be more than entertainment. I'm not gonna sit on my fucking high horse and tell you this is not entertainment, because that would be lying. We would
Right.
be lying out our ass. That's not honest. But I want it to be entertainment with a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to tell you a good story, but I want you to take something away from this. I want us to empathize with the victims, their families, and the perpetrators so that we can all end the cycles of abuse and that it can get better and you can protect yourself. That's all. But for us to sit here and go, it's not entertainment, is dishonest and slimy and icky, and we're not going to do that.
Human beings have told stories since the dawn of time.
And
This
stories
is just storytelling.
about death and dying are going to tickle your little lizard brain and make the feel-good chemicals. That's just science. No need for shame, but we do have a great responsibility in telling these stories. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Goddamn.
Because these are people's stories.
Their lives.
Yes.
And to do anything less would be cheapening it, and I won't participate. If a family member ever contacted me and told me to take an episode down, it'd be down so fast. That's all. All right, anyway. Yvonne's family searched too. They knew Yvonne wasn't going to be coming home to them alive, but they wanted to bring her home. The environment and the time that had passed really worked against them.
Yeah.
The search for Yvonne lasted 2 years before there was a break.
My goodness.
Her remains were found when a worker clearing some land near where Yvonne had been living stumbled across them.
It was on land and not in the ocean?
One of the many ding-dong-dum-dum things this guy did. Yeah.
Are you kidding? I was like, no, she's in the ocean.
I
You're
thought
never
so,
gonna
too.
Find her.
Because that's where I think Natalie Holloway went.
Who's that?
Oh my God, dude.
I forget.
Girl
I'm
who
bad
went
with
missing
names.
in Aruba and was likely murdered by Jordan Vandersloot. It was a huge case in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Okay.
She was on a senior trip.
Yes.
Pretty blonde girl.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the senior trip that got me
Yeah.
to remember. God, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Natalie
mean-
Holloway.
Yeah.
So sad. It reminded me of that case a little, in
Right.
so much that we're in a tropical place and the ocean's right there.
You would think.
Why wouldn't you use it? It's the fucking ocean.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah,
I'm glad
for
he
sure.
didn't.
For sure.
So her remains were found in not all of them either, in a military-style duffel bag.
What? He dismembered her?
Yes. It's way worse. It's just going to be so bad from here on out. Just trigger warning, because the rest of this is emotionally gut-punchy. And this person is so vile. I think he's one of the most vile people we've covered.
Ugh.
He's right up there. Brian was in U.S. custody due to the 13 felonies, and he was then indicted for the murder, and he originally pled not guilty. It is believed by investigators that Yvonne was killed on the evening of November the 26th, 2011, or the early morning of November 27th. They also believe he killed her dog. He then dismembered her body with a machete. After doing this grisly act, he made a joke on social media post that he had a machete for sale.
Oh my God.
In the post, sorry, it's hard. He said, I bought this in the US before I came down here. Don't worry. I only dismembered one stripper with it, so it's hardly used. Smiley face. I hate jokes like that about strippers, especially. I've been friends that dated a lot of strippers. And that, because he was trying to denigrate her and
Yeah.
humiliate her with
Yeah.
that. It's not humiliating to be a stripper. And all those jokes that you all laugh at, and we all laugh at, about violence towards sex workers, like strippers need to stop.
Mhm.
He's just a disgusting person. Like, it just hurts me to hear that. Because it should not be an insult to be a stripper.
Right.
And he should not have tried to humiliate her after she was already dead. Fucking piece of shit. Brian bought a new mattress on the 27th and told his landlord he'd thrown the old one into the ocean because the dog had urinated on it, likely because he killed the dog on it. The next day, he went to town to withdraw money from Yvonne's account to make it look like she was on her way to Costa Rica. Over the next several days, he disposed of physical evidence of the murder. On November 29th, that's when he sent those emails from Yvonne to her family. He then sent an email from Yvonne's account to their landlord saying she was in Costa Rica and wanted to give the landlord her 2 high-end sewing machines to cover her rent since she had left the country.
That's disgusting.
Later that day, Brian sent an email to Yvonne asking if she'd left the country to cover his tracks. On December 10th, 2011, Brian flew back to the United States. He had a layover in Costa Rica, which was intentional. While there, he sent an email from Yvonne's account to one of her friends. Later, while still in Costa Rica, Brian used her account to search for Festival de la Luz in Costa Rica. He then sent an email to her sister from Yvonne's account talking about the festival. He was trying to find things locally,
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
would cover him.
Yeah.
He then took money from her bank account so it looked like she was there. On December 15th, he was back in California. He proposed to his girlfriend and mother of his children. He would go on to have another child with her.
Oh my God.
A friend emailed him that night and told him to say hi to Yvonne, not knowing what had happened, obviously. And he told the friend he, quote, ditched that bitch. Brian would later go on to confess and plead guilty to her murder as the evidence stacked up against him. He said he had drugged her and beat her, that he'd stabbed her in the back. He ditched her remains where they were found, but the rest of her limbs were put deep into the Panama jungle, and those were never recovered. After doing all of that, he went to a bar. He bought a group of women drinks with the money that he took from her account and told them all to say, "Thanks, Vonnie," as they did a toast.
That's so fucked.
He later spent the rest of her money on drugs. And I don't know. Those little details, they may not seem like a lot,
No, it's sickening.
but it literally chills me to the very core of my being. That, to me, is evil.
Yeah.
And it is scary. And that man should never see the light of day. I don't think he should go on living. And you know how I feel about the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
He was sentenced to 26 years in prison for the murder of Yvonne, and I don't understand why it was so short. That was clearly first-degree murder.
Yeah.
I think he got a reduced sentence for his plea.
I
I think
hate
they
that that's
should
a
have told him to
thing.
shove that plea up his ass.
I hate that that's a thing.
Because he could get out.
But that shouldn't be legal. It shouldn't be legal.
I don't want that piece of shit getting out.
Why are plea bargains legal?
I think the whole thing's
It's
fucked.
stupid.
Here's a weird... Okay, this is separate from the case,
Okay.
but weirdly connected to it. This will just give you the chills. Weirdly, the serial killer Wild Bill Holbert, killed at least 5 Americans. He used those victims' identities to communicate with their families after their murders and lived in the same little apartment that Yvonne and Brian stayed in Panama.
Oh my God.
It's just like the same thing happened.
That's fucking weird.
Like all the hairs on my nape
Yeah.
and my arms are standing up. Isn't that the weirdest shit?
He did the exact same thing.
Now, here's
Do
something.
you think Brian knew?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. It was not like advertised or anything. Someone dug it up like a long time
Okay.
after the murder
And
was
just kinda
done and
connected
everything.
the two.
Isn't that creepy though?
Wow.
It's weird. I don't like
That's
it.
really fucking
It really
weird.
fucks with me. This whole case fucks with me on a deep level.
When there's parallels like that, it just adds to how eerie it is.
Well, part of it is I always wonder, like, how could you go from loving somebody
Mm.
or being in a romantic relationship with them, even if you didn't love them, but just were fucking them or whatever?
Yeah.
How could you go from that to hating them enough to kill them?
Right.
And I think it's evident in the way he acted after her death, the way he talked about her, the jokes.
Oh, it was disgusting. That's just disgusting.
It's just a level of contempt I've never felt in my life.
Mocking her after beating her for months on end, then stabbing and dismembering her, and then mocking her.
Killing her little dog.
Like, what the fuck did she do to you, bro? Like, what
she just loved him and wanted to have a beautiful life in paradise. That's all she wanted. God help us that we share a world with shit like this.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's business time. Fuck. First, patrons. I said it on Discord. I've said it on Patreon, but I want to say it again. If you have purchased your subscription through the Apple iOS store, they are upping your cost. Do not be alarmed. We are covering it.
I don't know how that works, but I agree with Lillian.
It came up as an option on Patreon, and I said I would cover the 30% fee.
Oh, it's an option on Patreon that you can do that.
I can cover it, yes.
That's interesting.
Because y'all pay enough.
Yeah.
Times are hard.
Yeah.
We ain't doing that shit. So please do not worry. You good. And if you become a new patron, that applies to you too. Please do, because now we're going to lose a large sum of money, which is fine because we love you guys more than we love money.
And we're already broke enough as
we already don't have anything.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you join our Patreon, man, you're going to get over 600 hours of content at this point.
A whole lot. And
a
it
whole
keeps
lot.
Getting bigger.
We add to it. In fact, I just added to it. I covered the Queen of Scientology's disappearance, Shelley Miscavige, last time.
I'm so glad. I wasn't here for that because our schedules didn't line up, but I'm glad you covered that. I've been thinking about her quite a bit.
She did. Maybe. Yeah. Probably. If not, she's not in good shape.
If she's not dead, she's miserable.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It is sad. And I also go over like Scientology and stuff in case you don't know anything about it, but not to a point where it would bore you.
Yeah, I just binge watched the OA, and I was thinking about her because they're all underground and nobody knows that they're still alive, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she's down there.
Possibly the vault. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to hear about that case, join our Patreon. And y'all, there are a million other interesting cases. We just pick whatever fascinates us.
Whatever we want.
What are you covering next on Patreon? Give me a little teaser.
Oh my God, I forgot the name. I'm so bad with names. But it's this really fucking crazy story about how this guy basically murders his wife, but he has like this crazy scheme where you don't think it's him, and at the very end you find out that it was actually him. And I just gave the whole thing away, so forget that when you listen. But it's a wild story. Dominic suggested it to us. So,
somebody on Discord. Yeah. Hey, get on Discord.
Yes,
you can.
I love it whenever you guys suggest me things, especially when I'm like, okay, I've watched a million documentaries. I can't make a decision. Somebody tell me what you want to listen to.
Yeah, we've gotten some really great suggestions there, especially for Maris Mondays. The Van Meter Visitor is probably one of our most popular episodes, and that was from Amber.
Oh,
so thank you. That's the Horn Light. Man legs.
So much.
She's so good.
She's good.
She is good.
Good one.
She is a good one. Good teabag.
Yes.
But yes, come to our Discord. We're all friends there. We're having a good time. You're missing out.
I've also been harvesting memes. I've been getting into more meme Facebook groups, like more obscure ones.
I've gotten X memes because I'm banned on Facebook forever. And so I have gone to X where all the scumbags go. And that's where I'm harvesting my memes. And I've gotten some pretty good ones.
I refuse to call it X.
I give up. I give up in many ways because I watched the, oh my God, it was so good. I watched the Muskrat interview of Dumpy Trumpy, of Donald Jorts Trump. And my favorite.
Trump.
And my favorite bit was where he nonsensically slurred all the words that he was saying, and he stopped. He went, "And beautiful Kamala," and I was like, "True, yes, but just like Melania." I was like, "Is she okay?" Because I have not seen her and her squinty ass eyes in so long. She's a squinty ass bitch. It's because she got that plastic surgery. Makes her squinty.
I would be too if I had to be around him all the time.
She's just the diaper fumes. That's what she's blinking away.
No,
Lord.
No.
I want to sit her down and I want to go, "Honey, is it worth it? Is it worth it letting him put his little saggy mushroom in there?"
No.
Wiggling it around.
No, I'm not listening.
Yeah, well, these
No.
are the things that haunt
I'm
my
not
dreams.
listening.
Anyway, also, we have merch. Go check it out. I don't want to talk about it right now,
Should.
but it's great.
We have so much cool stuff.
We do. If you're on YouTube and you're listening to this, please the like and subscribe and the comment.
It
and
really
the bell.
does help.
It
I know
does
everybody
help.
says that, but it really does.
No, it does.
It really
And
does.
I'm making no money off YouTube, but
Yeah.
I could be if we would all go and do the
Yeah.
thing.
I need help with my bills.
We're not doing so
It's
hot.
very difficult. I know we're just preaching to the choir.
We are
but
preaching to the choir.
single mom.
But if you're like,
Hard.
yeah, hard
It's
life,
hard time.
not fun. And if you would like to send us a little tip, we have a coffee too, and we always appreciate that shit because you know what? With all the scrimping and food
Yeah.
banking and crying, we could use a nice coffee.
God bless
It's been a
it.
long time.
Really though, it's been way too long.
I want to say it's been like
It's been over a
like-
month.
no,
for
it's been
me.
like 4 or 5 months. Since,
Yeah.
Wait, not that long. Maybe like 2 or 3 months since we've had a fancy coffee.
I made myself an iced coffee at home the other day, and I accidentally put too much creamer and ruined the whole thing. And
Do
I'm
you want to
just
die?
still sad about it. Yeah.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's check this out. So I got some Haagen-Dazs ice cream that my kid bought me, and it was like raspberry white chocolate, dark chocolate truffle. And I got like 4 bites out of it, and I was like, I'm gonna shave you for later when I am stoned, and then I can appreciate you fully, like a gentle lover,
I don't like the way this is going.
And then some cunt in my house ate it, and not one cunt will own up to it because they sensed my rage before they felt it. You know
My
what I'm saying?
teenager will always eat the last of something.
Little-
Always.
little
every
shits.
time. And I'm like, do you not ration? You don't see like where like you could eat half and leave half?
No.
Or that thought never crossed. No, you eat entire box. And you don't pay for it. You eat entire box and the fancy cheese and don't pay for it?
Look, I got you.
He tried to eat my salami.
Oh, fuck off with that. That's
No,
my
no,
salami.
it's mine.
Salami's good,
I
by
barely
the
eat
way.
anything. It's my salami. Bitch, I fight.
I'm eating fine, but I'm very particular and autistic about my snacks, goddammit.
Yeah, same.
Look, there's your communal meal.
That's my girl dinner.
There's the
Salami
communal
and
meal.
cheese.
And then you fend for yourself for lunch, and there's shit to eat. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but there's plenty.
But yeah.
You leave my raspberry Haagen-Dazs alone.
I miss ice
You think
cream.
I can afford to go
miss
out and buy
ice cream.
another Haagen-Dazs? Are you out of your
Girl,
mind in this
have you-
economy?
Have you seen the prices of ice cream?
Oh,
Holy
honey,
Lord
that's
God,
just at
all
the that's just at the grocery store that is closest to us. If you go to Walmart, it ain't that bad.
Okay.
Like my little
But then
Haagen-Dazs
driving
costs
home-
$8.
Driving home from Walmart, the ice cream's gonna melt.
How slow are you fucking driving? I'm fine.
Really?
Yeah,
I think I'm over exaggerating.
I think
it
if-
feels like forever.
it's like
I feel like
23
it's
minutes
gonna
or
melt.
something.
Yeah.
It might be a little goopy at the top. You just throw that shit in your freezer real quick. Well, that's enough of that. Some real good radio there.
So sorry.
Christ.
So sorry.
I would like to shout out Maris's podcast, Reality.
Oh yeah.
We are covering. Did you ever watch that show, Trading Spaces?
Yeah, dude.
Remember when that bitch put the hay on the walls?
Oh, okay. So I have a request
yeah, I did.
for reality. Do you remember the show where the parents get to pick your girlfriends because they don't like your girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever?
Oh, yes, that was very
Um,
dumb.
Yeah. That's
Okay, I'll put that on the list.
beautiful. I watched some old like flashbacks, just like
They're so good.
Oh my god.
But if you all remember, there was that one designer, I think it was like Heidi or something like that.
Yeah.
Hildy. And that bitch straight up glued hay to the wall. And that's the episode we're going to cover because everyone was sad
I
about
bet
that.
it was stanky.
It was stinky. It was sticky. And the hay was everywhere.
Yeah, I recently watched something about maybe it was a Sloan episode of all of the people from the home makeover show and all the like the houses that
It was so bad.
yeah, and like people like not only would they build these multi-million-dollar houses in like low income
Yes.
how like streets and stuff and just really fuck up the whole property value to where people can't even sell their homes
No.
because nobody will buy it.
No.
And not just that, like they like build these huge things where people can't afford repairs. They can't afford this. They can't afford the taxes on their home. And they just screwed all these people, big, huge families that need help.
It doesn't help because the whole system is garbage.
No, they're literally just doing it for views. Yep. I know. It's a wild world. I don't believe half of this is real.
No, I just want to rant very briefly. And don't tell me not to be political. Suck my dick. I don't even have one, but if I did, it's a spirit's dick.
Affection or action?
It's not affectionate. It's rage.
That's it.
Yeah. Mine's full of rage. Yeah. And it's huge. Anyway, because it's full of rage. I just sit here and I'm looking at politics with my eyes. And then we got a candidate, Robert F. Kennedy.
What?
The
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
What are you saying?
He's so nuts.
Who?
He picks up roadkill. The guy running on the Libertarian ticket.
Oh,
for his Falcon.
I don't know this.
He put a dead baby bear in Central Park on a bicycle.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, and neither does he. He picks up roadkill to feed to his Falcon, and he picked that up, and he was drunk, and he thought it would be funny to put it on a bicycle in Central Park. It wasn't funny.
See, I really do believe that I'm really in a coma.
Right? Because this is too weird.
This is a fever dream. Somebody forgot to turn on the AC in my back room.
And my brain's dying and melting. Yeah.
This isn't real.
No.
None of this. That's not real.
No.
Mm-mm.
Remember when Rudy Giuliani was melting?
Remember when he farted?
Yeah. Remember how all these people hate trans people, yet there's pictures of them in drag a lot more than there should be?
Right.
They've done drag more than I have, and I've done drag
I'm
a few times.
You, Trump's little friends.
Who, JD Vance?
Yeah, his guy.
That couch fucker.
His guyliner is like fucking creepy. I'm all for some guyliner. I think it's very sexy.
It's hot, except if you're JD Vance.
No, not if you are an animatronic wax figure who fucks couches.
He didn't fuck a couch, but we're gonna keep saying he does because it's funny.
Oh no, at this point he fucked a couch.
Or the couch fucked him. Either way. But he recently, a clip emerged of him saying, "Postmenopausal women exist to raise babies, like grandbabies. That's all we're good for." If you're married to JD Vance and you're somehow listening to this, you're not. But if you are, girl, fuck off. Get out of there. If you don't, you just, what are you saying to the world? That you're fucking that? That's what you want to be known for? Run away. And his drag was terrible. His weave looked like shit.
Oh, he actually did drag? I didn't see the
There
picture.
are like several pictures that have emerged of him doing drag because of fucking course there are. Because every time the right makes an accusation, it's a fucking confession.
Yeah, girl.
Whoa. Indeed.
Right.
I love Tim Walz.
Who? Oh, yeah.
Oh my God!
I'm
Pull your head out of your
sorry.
asshole! I'm so sick of you. Someone help me. Join Discord and talk politics with me. And for the record,
Girl, I'm just ducking and covering. I feel like I'm in elementary school and it's bomb drill. I'm just, girl, I'm just duck cover.
Willow will vote, though she's a ding dong.
I am voting.
Yeah.
For whoever Lillian tells me to. It's like
Indeed.
I just
I'm like,
what are the answers to the test?
D.
Yeah.
D.
Which one?
The D. We want the D.
We do.
Oh. You know, if all dick vanished overnight, I just would not give a fuck. Just not even a fuck. I just wouldn't care. I'd be like, oh well. Anyway, but Lillian, are you a man hater? Yes. Where have you been this whole time? But don't you have sons? Oh, just shut up. I can love my sons and hate all men at the same time. I'm multifaceted. Hypocritical? Don't give a shit. Eat my ass. All of it. It's considerable as well. You'll be busy.
Dear God.
Anyway, look, they haven't heard me be unhinged in a long time because I was very stressy and depressy. I did. Some people said so. Somewhere. Surely. Anyway, I love you guys.
I always get nervous that we're like ranting too much at the end of the episode, and then the next day Discord's just lit up with like, I love you guys. Da, da, da. So,
yeah, what are you worried about? Here's the part. Here's how I look at the end of the episode. It's a free for all because the people who don't want to listen to banter have already turned it the fuck off.
Oh, that's true.
The people who want us to keep going are staying.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and if you are listening to the banter and you hate it, well, bitch, why? Don't complain to me. You can turn me the fuck off.
Proceed.
I'm stuck with my ass all the time.
Me too.
Y'all, this dim bitch. Somebody send help. No, there's no help. I want to do an episode that just, like, are we in hell? That's what I want to know. On Patreon,
It's the bad place.
This is the bad place.
This is the bad place.
Like, I'm not denying I don't deserve to be here.
Yeah.
I'm a shithead.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't have to convince me. Like, Lillian, you were a bad person. I'm like, well, yeah, probably.
I'm not necessarily a bad person. I'm just really grumpy.
Well, here's the thing. If we're in hell, then that implies the Judeo-Christian system is correct. And according to that, I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Big old whore.
Yeah.
Us do a swear.
Do a big gay.
I have said I wanted to fuck the devil
time
like
time.
80,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have been queering out for years. Yeah. And that's enough, really. We should stop. This
we don't
is
need to go
stupid.
down the list.
Anyway, enjoy the 20 minutes of absolute
really
mayhem.
love you guys and we miss you.
Thank you for the nearly a million years of support. That's how it feels.
Yep.
In a good way.
I just feel like we just needed to hang out with you guys for a little bit longer.
It's been a minute and I needed to scream.
It's been a weird year.
Yo!
It's just weird, dude.
Who else please get on Discord. Can someone get on Discord? I'm going to make a whole channel where we can talk about This Is Hell, because I just want to expound on this.
Yeah. I don't know. This year hasn't necessarily been bad, knock on wood. It's just weird as fuck, dude. It's just weird.
Everything's been weird.
It's fucking weird.
It's weird.
So
let's talk about
disassociating.
Oh, I haven't been home.
Nope. No lights on. No one's home.
Anyway, come to Discord. Let's talk about it. Good night. Goodbye.
We love you.
Us on your social media platform of choice. Linktree/cruelty has all of the links. Check out our Patreon for exclusive episodes, merch, ad-free episodes, live ghost hunts, and much more. Please be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded weekly. Thank you so much. See you next time. Music and production by Libby.